Tab, what's it like to watch your life flash before your eyes like this? It must be an interesting experience.
It's a little difficult. No, I'm not. I'm not really comfortable. When I was an actor, I didn't mind the working with other people, but all the other stuff, the hoopla, it gets a little. I run out to the barn to be with my horse most of the time, where you shovel the real stuff. But I do think Allan did an amazing job. He spent 7 years putting this together. And,
thank you. But I also have to give credit to Neil Konigsberg. If it wasn't for Neil, we wouldn't have a movie, and Neil's in the audience, so thank you.
And one of the
Neil.
producers,
Oh, yeah.
Neil Konigsberg.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, the job of putting all the pieces together is very, very difficult, and so I'm thrilled.
Sure. Now, Allan, this is a story that Tab, who I'm going to obviously ask you about this in a moment as well, but this was a story that, or a large part of the story was held very close to your vest for a lot of your life. Allan, you've known and been with Tab for over 30 years. What is it that made you urge him to tell this story first in autobiography format in 2005, and then more recently in the form of this documentary?
Well, I had heard that somebody was going to be doing an unauthorized biography on Tab, and I just said, look, you better write your own story, because if you don't, it will be nothing but confidential magazine and photo play quotes from the 50s, and it really won't have any weight to it. So
then I said, okay, let's get it from the horse's mouth and not some horse's ass after I'm dead and gone. Because people love to put a spin on your life. Sure. And, come on, this is the journey. And I'm an old man now. I'm 84 years old. It's been a wonderful journey, and I thank God. And I just didn't want somebody putting the spin on my life.
Sure. And I have to say, I think on behalf of, I heard a lot of people react this way. This guy looks great for 84 years old, right? So what was the process like of opening up about this subject matter? Obviously, this movie deals with a lot of things: your faith, your integrity, a lot of things. But the thing that most people come away from it, the way it's promoted, all of that is about you opening up about your sexuality.
Well, that's so true, but I just keep trying to tell people that that's a thread in the tapestry of my life. And, it's all about the journey. People so often want to hang a label on people. Oh, she's like this. Oh, he's like that. Oh, he's like this. She's like that. But it's not about, I don't like labels. And that was the first line of my book. I hate labels. I think we have to concern ourselves with we are all human beings. And the important thing is, yes, but what kind of a human being are you? And that is major. And the journey's been a wonderful journey. There have been a lot of highs, a lot of lows. But we can't forget to say thank you, and that's what it's all about.
But I just wanted to add that had Tab not have written the book, I never would have been able to do the documentary, because once he opened up in his book about his sexuality, it really took 10 years of talking about it to desensitize himself to be able to when you write a book, it's one thing, but getting in front of a camera and talking about it is something entirely different, which is something he could never have done had he not have written his book.
I just have to interject. I apologize. I'm a bad moderator because I forgot to say they do not want photos or video taken as a general rule at these. So let me just throw that in there. But back to the topic at hand. Allan, you had a kind of funny line, but actually somewhat indicative of what this has really been like for you, Tab. That this.
Yeah. No, again, the last thing Tab wants to do, and that's why I think it's incredibly brave of him to have done the documentary, because he doesn't want to sit up here and talk about his sexuality. It's something that's private to him. It's something that he was taught. You just don't talk about those kinds of things. And he is not of that TMZ world of today where everything is in your face. He's, there was
I had a very strict German religious mother. And I love the wonderful thing she say, please, nothing for show. So what happens? I wind up in show business. And I love one time they were doing an interview for her, with her out at Warner Brothers. And they said, oh, Mrs. Galeen, aren't you proud of your son? And my mother was so wonderful. She said, yes, that's very nice, but Walter is the intelligent one.
And Allan,
So well, this is about the quote when we were in New York about the people asking you how you feel.
Well, I do love the press asked Allan while we were in New York. We just came back, and they said, "Allan, you wrote this, and how was it doing the thing?" And he said, "Well, Tab opened the door, came out of the closet, did the documentary, turned around, walked back in, and shut the door."
That's the truth. Yes. Yeah.
One of the things that I'm so amazed at is that you have very little anger or resentment at people who made your life not. I mean, it's obviously been a very happy life, but they tried to make it unpleasant at times. Even it's kind of referenced in the movie, but also in other interviews I've seen you give, you talk about Luella Parsons, Hedda Hopper, people that would needle you because some people in the business knew perhaps your sexuality, but outside their readers might not, and it was just to kind of needle you. And the same kinds of things that were talked about in the film, the Natalie would, Tab wouldn't, that kind of thing.
But what people loved they didn't talk about things like they do today, and that was so great. I was the end of the studio system. We had Jack Warner, Warner Brothers. We had Harry Cohn at Columbia, Daryl Zanuck at Fox, Louis B. Mayer at MGM, and they ran a tight ship. These were great moguls, and you worked for them, and you do your job. And if you didn't do your job, you'd be out, and someone else would be in there doing the job. It was that simple. They knew how to promote films. They knew how to promote the people they were building. And it was quite a different business than today. Today, everything is so blah, blah, right in your face, and it's really kind of staggering, if you want to know the truth. I'm not comfortable in that skin, and it's a whole different ball game. But I was thrilled to be a part of that, the end of that.
That's the reason why I wanted to do this movie, because Tab had a unique story to tell. Usually when you see movie star biographies, they're made because there's some tragedy. They commit suicide. They have, they turn to drugs and alcohol. There's something they have to overcome. Tab didn't take those kinds of road. This is a film that I feel is uplifting at the end. You feel good about what he wasn't a victim of Hollywood. He appreciated his Hollywood career, but he never blamed Hollywood for anything. And one other thing is, I think how he came out the other end whole is when fame found him, he didn't buy into it. So when it passed him by, he didn't try to hold on to it either. And that's rare, because usually, that's a hard thing to let go of.
The horses, and I must tell you this, they were the stabilizing force in my life. They were a touch of reality in that unrealistic world of Hollywood. And you can't live in all of that, and I don't know how you can be really comfortable in it. You have to take stock in what's happening and be aware of your own growth mentally, physically, and number one, spiritually. And that is very difficult to do when all that stuff is being heaped on you.
I would like to ask Tab, what is it that, as you look back at this remarkable journey that we've all just experienced again with you watching it, what is it personally, professionally, no limits, that you feel proudest of as you look back?
Well, I would say the wonderful people that I've worked with. I mean, they're the contributors. Those are the ones that you feed from, and you hopefully can give them back all that they're giving you when you're working with them. I mean, how could I ever not acknowledge you having worked with Lucchino Visconti or John Frankenheimer, Arthur Penn, Sidney Lumet. I mean, some really Phil Carlson, Bill Wellman. I mean, really great people. I've been very fortunate, and the actors and actresses, I can't forget about them. And Geraldine Page said something to me one time. I was working with her, and I said, "God, Jerry, everyone loves you. The press hate my guts." And she grabbed hold of my arm and said, "Remember this, Tab. If people don't like you, that's their bad taste." I thought, whoa, that's pretty nice. So I thought, I'm going to apply that to my life. And furthermore, I look out at everybody and I say, look, just remember, if people don't like you, that's their problem, not yours.